So today I'm gonna go over the Trump beautiful bill, the one big beautiful bill that has 1,082 pages, as you can clearly see. It's from the House. Don't worry, I'm not gonna spend hours reading each page and talk about each page in detail. That's too much. AI was utilized to summarize this whole page. I'm gonna show right now in Microsoft Word, copy and paste it, so that we can just summarize this bill. The Rules Committee print 119-3, the Trump one beautiful big bill, right? What is that all about? So this is gonna be much shorter than the 1,082 pages. Is summarizing the entire bill, the main points. Okay, it summarized main point. AI generated. AI is a tool. We gotta use it, right? So what is the one beautiful bill act, right? The one big beautiful bill act from Trump, right? That wants Trump wants Congress to pass this, so he signed to act. So he can sign the act into law, all right? The bill into law. So nutrition, title 1-A, right? Revises SNAP's thrifty footprint and work requirements. Limits waiver for able-bodied adults without dependents. So what does 2 points mean? So revising Snap's thrifty footprint and work requirements. It might mean that they might expand work requirements to be able to receive Snap, or they might think that you should not work at all to be able to receive Snap. It could be along those lines. Bill can always be updated later. So limiting waivers for able-bodied adults without dependents. So if it's someone who they deemed capable of working, be able to move around, not have much disability to slow you down, or your disability is not enough to really stop you from be able to work full time and take care of your dependents, it is what it is, right? So this is specific for without dependents. So if you don't have any dependents, they're gonna limit the waivers for you to be eligible for these welfare programs. Restricts eligibility for non-citizens and expenses like internet fees. This will probably target in particular green card holders. Green card holders are in a unique situation because as a green card holder, you contribute to all the regular taxes, Social Security, and all that, but you can also get Social Security checks. You're eligible for Social Security benefits when you retire. So you contribute all those years, you actually be able to get it. But then certain things you may not because it's only for citizens, right? Like voting. As an example, if you cannot vote in the federal election as a green card holder, you can only or any type of legal visa you may have because you have to be a U.S. citizen. You cannot run for office as a green card holder either, right? At the federal level, at least. Well, in this case, they're trying to find ways to reduce or restrict eligibility that would that federal government used to give to non-citizens like green card holders. This is different from someone who is in a deeper loophole like DACA that provides you 2 years of temporary protection from deportation and a work permit so you can legally work. Even though you contribute to Social Security benefits as a DACA recipient, you cannot obtain or get any Social Security checks when you retire, even though you contribute the same way as anyone else. So it's tricky situation. So this will definitely impact a lot of people, potentially green card holders as well, because it said non-citizens. That's very vague. Introduces quality control incentives and repeals the obesity prevention grant. Why is that a bad thing, right? So introduces quality control incentive. That means that they will reduce the number of incentives they provide for people to be eligible for grants and all the services because of the health condition or whatever case may be. And by repealing the obesity prevention grant, that means that if you're trying to go through a program to maybe help with your obesity issue, your overweight problems, and trying to get into better shape, you're trying to get maybe nutritionists, dietitians to help you, a trainer, you may not be eligible now for this grant. It completely getting rid of that grant, so you cannot get certain benefits you could from the federal government. This is not good because you want people to be healthier, but some people need help. Some people have insulin issues with it because of having PCOS, could make the insulin skyrocket, which makes it hard to lose weight. You retain weight more, meaning you're gonna retain more fat and more water in your body, make it hard to lose the weight, specifically the fat. It's not easy. So making things hard for people to get healthier is never a good thing. Now, rural investment, right? That's the next session. Updates agricultural safety net and commodity reference prices, which may or may not be good for farmers. We have to see. Includes provisions on conservation, trade, energy, and rural schools. That could be a negative. It could reduce funding for those public schools in rural areas. It could make it hard for conservationists, especially conservation scientists, to be able to do anything. Trades, like trading goods could be a little bit harder, depending how it's written, the provisions. And if you're someone who wants to be energy efficient, maybe you're trying to use renewable energy, it could be problematic. We have to see. Now, defense. We know that the federal government loves to fund the DoD, right? Department of Defense, the military. They love to do that with basically no cap, meaning they don't put a cap on how much the military can get away with wasting money. Because the Pentagon and the military in general are known to waste billions to trillions of dollars on crap we don't need. Yet they never get in trouble. No orders are really officially done to stop them. Even if they would, they wouldn't stop them anyway. Increases funding across DoD domains, of course, life quality, shipbuilding, cybersecurity, nuclear forces, Indo-Pacific command, and border support. Instead of just funding more NASA, we need NASA to be funded properly so we can do more research. A lot of advanced technologies came from all NASA has done to improve the technology to get into space. Gotta keep that in mind. Or just make healthcare affordable and create a single payer system so that people don't have to keep paying for these private health insurance plans like they do in other countries. A publicized healthcare program that is single payer based, where we all contribute, especially the rich and want to contribute more to make sure we all have healthcare. That would be better. Education workforce. Overhaul student eligibility, loan limits, repayment options, and Pell Grants. That's not a good thing. That's going to make it hard for people to afford to get an education, whether that's going to tech school, community college, 4-year universities. That's not a good thing. Make it hard for you to have more options for repayment plans to pay back your loans, how much loan you may need to get to be able to finish your degree or certificate. All those things are tough. So that's not a good thing. Imposes regulatory limitation and accountability measures. Yeah, this can be problematic. Knowing the Republican plan, this will impact in a negative way PSLF eligibility, especially for people who literally work for as local state government employees. It's not an easy situation. Or nonprofit workers. Energy and commerce repeals resents multiple climate related programs and EPA and HTSA rules. That's a horrible thing. The whole point why we have regulations relating to climate change, pollution, etc., is so that we have healthy life. We want to keep a healthy habitat for the species because it will help us in the long term. So getting rid of those regulations means the company can do whatever they want. They can drill, baby, drill, right? Like Trump said, drill, baby, drill. Get as much oil as they want, destroy the environment, pollute the waters that we drink from, that all the species survive in, pollute the entire environment. Now no one can really live there besides factories. That's not a good thing. And now we put more CO2, methane gases, etc. in the atmosphere, harder to breathe. We all die faster from lung cancer and all diseases. Why? This is not a good thing. This is really bad. This might be one of the most detrimental situation in this type of bill because it's going to have long-term impact on everyone on the planet. Supports AI modernization and natural gas exports. I don't mind improving AI tech. We need to. AI is a tool as I use for this situation. It's important. All the people use, you can see in Reddit comments or social media platform comments and posts. A lot of people use AI. I use that at work too. So I don't mind that. Depending how it's utilized. I don't want that to be used as a way to replace the entire workforce when we need humans for customer service. I don't want to be hearing AI robots doing give me automatic responses. That there are a lot of nuances that you need a human approach to those situations to understand the nuances of every case by case scenario. Natural gas exports can be tricky. This will potentially open up areas where they can get gas from that you shouldn't because it would destroy the environment. Medicare health tightens Medicaid eligibility. That's bad. Reduces fraud and limits gender transition coverage for minors. I don't agree with tightening Medicaid eligibility. A lot of people require Medicaid to survive. You get rid of Medicaid, they won't be able to afford to see a doctor. That's not a good thing. That's actually very dangerous, and you're gonna kill a lot of people unneededly, like unnecessarily. Reduces fraud. The problem is that this is not gonna help reducing fraud because Trump got rid of a bunch of federal workers that would help investigate type of frauds. Like they were trying to investigate Elon Musk's businesses because he was committing a lot of potential fraud, but that was completely eliminated. Limiting gender transition coverage for minors. Tricky situation. Uh, define minor. Are you talking about someone who's 17, 15? Are you talking about someone who's 5? You know, that minor can be very vague. I don't have problem with teenagers. You know, someone who's like 12 to a teenager, right? 13 to 19 or basic teens. I don't have problem with them having coverage for the gender transition services. You know, if they see themselves as a woman, so they're transgender woman, they should get the coverage, right? They're 15. It makes sense. Same thing if they're transgender men. They feel like they're men. They're transgender men. Makes sense. I don't think they should be limited the option for at least people going to high school, bare minimum. Maybe for people who are too young, like 5, 6 year old, in terms of actual like surgeries. I don't think there's anything wrong with someone who's 8, 9, maybe already starting some hormonal therapy. That's not surgery. But that's something to discuss with the patient and the doctor. Expense access and provide enrollment. Okay. Financial services, nothing wrong with that. Financial services modifies programs like PCAOB and Consumer Financial Protection. They can modify in a way that helps the rich and the wealthy. It can be problematic. Homeland security expands border security infrastructure, personnel, and vetting tools. May or may not be a good thing depending on how it's used, but so far Homeland Security eyes they all been really terrible for many immigrants, even people who are technically citizens or legally allowed to be here in the US. Judiciary immigration adds various immigration related fees and restrictions. This is a problem because it can make it more expensive to be able to legally get into the US and be able to eventually become a legal permanent resident and US citizen, which could actually increase the issue of uh, people become undocumented immigrants, right? Coming to this country without a legal path because they cannot afford it. This is can actually backfire. And restricting people who could be eligible to these legal ways to fix your immigration status is also a problem. You shouldn't do that. Boost ICE hiring, which I don't agree. I think ICE should be abolished. Enforcement tools, this just could mean they have more ways to brutalize both immigrants and US citizens. It depends how it's going to be done. And sponsor accountability. ICE doesn't take accountability for the illegal actions. That is very Nazi like. So I don't think this is going to be a good thing. Natural resources, expands energy leasing, onshore, offshore, coal, and geothermal. We shouldn't be relying on fossil fuels and coal like it's still the 1800s. We should be focusing on renewable energy. And some of these things can be problematic when we just purely rely on old school ways to have energy. Repeals environmental climate spending and land use restrictions. That's a problem because certain land you should not be using. It should be a natural habitat. We need those. We need trees. We need to have actual species surviving. Many species help keep the health of the environment going. You do the opposite, the health of the environment just goes down, and that will impact us. We are still animals. We are still part of nature. We only live on this planet. We have no other option to go from planet Earth to Mars. We can't do that. So you gotta take care of your planet to make it habitable to us. The planet itself will be fine, but we want to make it habitable to us and to other species. We have to work together to keep surviving. So I don't agree with that. Because first benefits shifts pension calculation and imposes claim filing fees. 100% disagree. First benefit that's offered the federal government employees, you need those. If you want to be a public servant, you want to attract good candidates to work for the federal government, getting reducing first benefits, shifting pension calculations so that people end up getting less of a retirement when they retire eventually too, and they're trying to get the pension checks and they know it's reduced. Why work for the federal government? They might as well maybe try the shot at getting a fully remote job at a private company, maybe a bank or a huge tech company, something that maybe they feel like would be more job security and stability for the long term than work for the federal government. It's been uncivil because of Republicans like Trump dismantling what always been working instead of expanding, improving it. So of course I don't agree with that. Transportation. Funds Coast Guard and air traffic modernization. Okay, depending how they do that can be good. Imposes vehicle registration fees. That, that I had to see how that would be done. Expands Trump era taxes and credits. We know that's going to help the rich and the wealthy more than the poor, working class, middle class people. So that can be problematic. Terminates clean energy tax credit. Why? That's a good thing. That's a horrible thing to get rid of. That will also screw people like Musk who have Tesla, electric cars. So why do that? Introduces mega accounts and health saving reforms. This sounds like a scam. We'll see how that works. Screw mega. Restricts taxpayer benefits for undocumented immigrants. What taxpayer benefits for undocumented immigrants? That's only maybe for the employers who are exploiting undocumented immigrants. They don't get any tax benefits for being undocumented. Raises debt ceiling, not a good thing. It can backfire. Strips court of power to enforce contempt rulings. This is extremely bad because that can really screw up what judges and like regular federal judges, not the U.S. Supreme Court, can do. Right, those injunctions will not be happening. So that's actually very dangerous. I don't agree with that. That can really backfire for the regular folks out there, not for the rich and wealthy. This is great for people like Trump in power, for dictators. Not good for the regular people. Well, that's it for the viewer. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. We can debate, talk about it, go more in detail if you like. And if you ask me questions or more resources, more information about this, I'll try my best to Google it and find it and give you reputable sources. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Watching this TikTok, follow us on TikTok, and I hope everyone has a safe day.